Hi, everyone. Welcome to They Had Fun. I'm Rachel, and I am back with another amazing story about New York City. And I don't know what to say, guys. It's summer in New York City. It's the best. This is what I love so much. As many of you know, my favorite season in New York City is, of course, hands down summer. And it is because naturally, it's the most fun. It gives you all the options to go out and to do things. I'm talking long bike rides. I'm talking, lunches outdoors with your friends where you have a few too many margaritas. We're talking going to the beach. We're talking dancing nonstop. That's going to lead us right into our Rachel's Recs. It's just so fun in the summer in New York City. Go out there, have some fun, get on a bike, go for a walk, go to a borough you've never been to before. I know I'm a little annoying with this stuff sometimes, but I mean it. So this is it. It's what we've all been waiting for. It's the best weather. So go out and have some fun. We're going to head right into our Rachel's Recs here. And number one, of course, is to get you dancing because that was your request of somewhere to dance outside. You know I love that. And I am wholeheartedly recommending Elsewhere in Bushwick. Now, Elsewhere has been a Rachel's Rec previously, but it is different this time because I am specifically recommending the Rooftop series. So in the summer, we are so lucky that Elsewhere does a full series of all different concerts, DJs, everything on their rooftop. And it is just the perfect way to spend a summer day in New York City. I went last weekend. I happened to go to Soul Summit, which was a bunch of great, obviously, soul music on the roof. Everyone was dancing their asses off. It was like 85 degrees, which I love. You have a great view of the city while you're there. It's just an absolute blast. A lot of the shows you can get in for free if you come on the earlier side. I'd say kind of like the only downfall I can think of at all is their drinks are kind of expensive. That's going to lead me into my second Rachel's Recs. But whatever you do, just please listen to me. Go get a ticket for some rooftop event, no matter what it is, at Elsewhere. I promise you, you are going to have so much fun. Okay, so let's get into my second one, which is my recommendation. And that is because the Elsewhere drinks were a little pricey when I was there. I was kind of surprised. So a great option, just, 3 minutes away, is Pearls on St. Nicholas Avenue, also in Bushwick. I love this place. I love their owner. It's just a great go-to bar. And not to mention, they just celebrated their 12th anniversary. So they're obviously having some fun there, doing something right. It's just such a great bar. It's nothing fancy. They have a decent glass of wine, which is what I always like to see. Prices are right. But to be honest, what everyone seems to be going there for is they always have a rotation of like alcoholic frozen drinks. I think the last time we were there, the most popular one was the Froze, and it had like an Aperol floater. It's just exactly what everyone wants, to sit outside on a patio, drink something like that, not super expensive. They also have, like $3 beers, shit like that. It's a really great bar. I love going there. So go have, a few pre-game drinks, get a little tipsy at Pearls on a lower budget, and then walk over to Elsewhere and dance your ass off. It is summer. God, I love it. Okay, not even intentional, but speaking of dancing your ass off, here we go. What a segue. I'm so excited to have my guest today. This is a big one, guys. She is the host of the TV show Bare Feet, which is aired on PBS, okay, and NYC Life, and her new season is starting today. So the day you hear this episode, the new season is starting. It is season 6. So on the show, she travels around all over the world and learns cultures and about people through dancing. But specifically with this season, the new season that comes out today, she is going all throughout New York City. Now, she is a New Yorker. She loves it here. You will hear that. And I'm telling you, if you are listening to this podcast and you like They Had Fun and you are obsessed with New York City like us, you are going to love this show. She goes to a bunch of the boroughs. She dances with real New Yorkers. She learns about the people. She learns about their stories. She is so passionate about this. So just please, I'm telling you, you will love this show. Without further ado, please welcome to the show, Mickela Mallozzi.
Hi, Rachel.
Thank you so much for being on the show. I just feel so lucky to talk to you that specifically this season coming up, you will be focusing specifically on the 5 boroughs of New York City. And how perfect is that for They Had Fun?
I know. It's the city we love. When you and I met, because we met in person at an incredible event, the Keo event.
Yes.
I love how your energy just comes through on this podcast. I've been listening to your other episodes, and it's just like, that's who you are in real life. I love it. I love it.
I'm going to cut all that out.
But no. But meeting someone who's just as enthusiastic about New York City, it's awesome. I love it so much.
Well, that's very nice of you to say. And thank you. And I have to say, I felt the exact same, talking to you for 5 minutes of just seeing like, you're like, what's your show about? And I'm like, oh, it's about just, New York and having fun. You're like, I love New York. And I'm like, I love New York. So it's perfect, says it perfectly ties into you. Like, if anyone hasn't seen Bare Feet, there is a way of involving culture, dance, travel, everything. And obviously you're not going to like this, but the star of the show that really ties all of that together. And you learn so much through all of these things. But I'm so excited to see how with the 5 boroughs, what we get of the culture of New York, the people of New York, the dance of New York, to see this all play out. How did it wind up being that in this 6th season, you're tackling your home and your love, obviously?
Yeah. So what's beautiful is we featured New York in season 2, which we shot years ago. I mean, you'll see these episodes. I look nice and young and no gray hairs. But then when COVID hit, we had to stop filming. And then once the world started opening up, we still couldn't travel internationally. And so I thought, why not revisit this idea of filming in our own city, in our own backyard? And of course, New York is the most diverse, one of the most diverse cities in the world. Queens is the most diverse borough in the world. I mean, it's the world's borough. So there was this opportunity. And at the time, the world was just opening up. Like I said, the vaccines were just rolling out. So it was this idea of like, let's show the resiliency of New York City. And we actually filmed 12 episodes within a 4-month period. And within that 4 months, it was like the Delta variant had kind of spiked and then gone, and then Omicron. So we got it right in time. During COVID and during the lockdown, the world changed. Our whole lives changed.
Oh, yeah.
And you couldn't do, like, as a storyteller, I'm sure you felt this as a storyteller, as someone who I feel a very strong responsibility through my work of, this isn't a show just about, oh, I just get to travel and dance and it's fun. I really feel the responsibility of giving a platform to voices that aren't always heard. And that's always been the mission of our show. But post, murder of George Floyd, post all of this anti-Asian hate movement, all of these things that kept happening, I thought we really have to focus on showcasing more BIPOC voices more so than before. We really have to showcase the LGBTQ, the disability community, the aging community. So that's our focus on this season, on these past 2 seasons. But this season specifically is, I'm so proud of the work that we're doing. And it's never about me. It's about the people that I get to meet and to showcase, especially in our own country, in our own city, that the diversity of this city and of our country is what makes us the most beautiful and what makes us the most resilient and the strongest. So that's what Bare Feet season 6 is about.
Well, you're already doing it.
Are you crying already?
Yeah, you're already making me tear up. It's the truth. It's just giving me, it's giving me chills a little bit.
Yeah,
people talk about the people of this city, and it's every single thing you're saying. I just want to say, quick note, you're saying it's not about you. And I understand that more than anyone who has a show where I hear stories too, but it is about you just a little bit. Just give a little bit to you, that
thank you.
You engage with the people so well. And that's what makes people feel great and open to telling their story. So there's all of that, but I agree so wholeheartedly with you. That is what this city is. Every person, every creed, every color, everything. As we've had someone on the show say before, if you're a racist, you're going to hate it here. It just doesn't work. And to know that that is where your thought process went is, it's not all about me. Let's amplify these voices. Let's highlight all of these people, because these are the people of the city for no other reason other than that. Like, even if we take everything else out of it, these are the people of New York, point blank. If you're doing a show about this city, here they are. And I just love hearing that and knowing that there's other people out there just who want to tell these stories. And I can't wait. I cannot wait to see these episodes.
Thank you.
As someone who is so obsessed with New York as much as you, and anyone who listens to this, we know you are obsessed with New York. Prepare yourself to watch these episodes June 28th on NYC Life. And in the fall, they'll be out on PBS. We got all of that info on Bare Feet. Let's get to know you a little bit more. So now actually you get to be the star of this one. So now we get to hear a bit more about you. So considering how much you love New York, let's get into the questions. First up is always, when did you move to New York?
I moved to New York in 2000. I went to NYU. It's funny because I grew up just 45 minutes outside of New York City to an immigrant family, Italian American family. And I never really enjoyed that much coming into the city. And I think it was because the very few times that we had ever come into the city or with like friends was in Times Square. And as you know, as a New Yorker, Times Square is really not fun. We all avoid Times Square. Like it is
It could
just
be a bit much.
yeah, it's overwhelming. And even back then it was worse because like there was no walking path. And anyway, I just didn't have the love that I have for it now. But I was applying for schools and I'll never forget my like high school, the what is it, your college counselor who's like, this is where you should be applying for schools. He was an alum of NYU. And I was like this, I am, but I was this like very artsy kid. I did all the dance programs. I would stay after school till like 9 o'clock every night, either in the drama program or the dance program or like art class. Or I mean, I was involved in every style of art or any form of arts education that the school offered. I was there.
Yeah.
I did this overnight. You know, you can go on campus and stay overnight. And this was back in I guess early 2000. Washington Square was not cleaned up, you know, like Greenwich Village
Mhm.
was really different. I fell in love with the city. I will never forget that day and that night.
Oh,
It was like, I need to be here. I need to live here. I need to grow here.
yeah.
And that's what happened. I got in, luckily. I never looked back. And I just loved being in this city. And it became this sort of canvas of like anything is possible. I didn't go to school for dance. I went to school for music, actually, and really immersed myself in the music industry, eventually worked in the music industry. I had stopped dancing. And fast forward through a series of living multiple lives, as we all do in New York City, I found dance back again in my life. And sort of had this crazy aha moment where I woke myself up in the middle of the night and decided I'm going to make a TV show where I travel and dance because that's what I was doing in New York. I would like every night I'd be going to see different dance and music. And I kind of through my show, like figured out all the things that I love to do and what I'm good at, which is like dancing with strangers. I love to say I make new friends by dancing with strangers. Like that's my mantra. And it's always been that from day one. It's been such a joy especially to come back and film these latest seasons in New York City because this is what New York looks like to me. And what's beautiful is New York is our biggest market. Like it's our highest concentration of fans. So it's kind of this wonderful, beautiful love that I get from the city that I love so much. Now I'm going to start crying and I get that love back. I feel like New York is like that bitchy sister that will like really chew you out. But if someone else disses on you, she chews them out, you know, like
Yes.
that's what New York has always felt like to me. Like she's got my back, but she will shit on me every day. You know, like
It's very true. I mean, it's something,
yeah.
that's something I like to say a lot is New York doesn't give a shit about you.
No, it doesn't.
It's one of my favorite things about the city. It makes for a great person.
Yeah.
If you live somewhere that's like, I don't care if you live here or not, like we're going to keep on moving along.
Yeah.
I think it makes for great people. I personally love hearing when people say, I just never dreamt of living in New York my whole life. I was 45 minutes away. I didn't care. It wasn't this big dream of mine because I find that fascinating to know that the love you have now and where it came from. For myself, like being a kid, it was always like, that was the dream. It's like the big city, like all of that stuff. And so I love hearing from people who found their own way to that love. It wasn't just manufactured by movies and television shows, which, guilty for me.
Yeah.
But to come here and find that love yourself, I just think it's so great. And as we know, the second question is always, why did you move to New York? Yours is obviously for school. I love hearing that because I don't think I could have handled it in any way. I think I might have crumbled a little bit being, 17-year-old Rachel showing up here to go to college. So knowing that you came here for that, besides the fact that you got into one of the best schools ever and that you found this love on that night, I mean, that kind of sounds like the answer. Why did you move to New York? You had this one night where you went out and you thought, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's interesting because I think if I had romanticized, and I know so many people do romanticize New York and they come here and they're just like,
Yeah.
What did I just do with my life? No, really. And New York isn't for everybody, it really isn't. And yeah, so that night I'll never forget it. It was just this sort of, being in Greenwich Village. It's not like being in Times Square. You don't have those, well, back then, no skyscrapers whatsoever, no tall buildings. And it felt like a real community. And then NYU, I love I'm now part of the alumni advisory board, which is a huge honor for me. I'm starting a
Wow.
new class, which is called Intercultural Connection Through Dance for spring semester 2024. Like that's been a goal of mine for
You are
years.
so cool. Gee.
Like it's just this, my work is more, again, it's more than just like having fun on camera. And I feel like I'm just getting started, you know?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. NYU's always been such a huge part of this whole New York story. I can't just say like that was then, like it's still part of my life. I still feel very connected with the school and it's wonderful. It's an honor. It's a great school. I love that school.
Talk about everything coming like 360, man.
I know,
like,
right? Full circle.
I'm just like seeing this kid showing up being like, this is the town for me. And this is what I say all the time on this show is I'm just constantly so impressed by New Yorkers. Like I'm so fucking impressed that you were this kid who showed up and you were like, I guess I can go to the school. You have this great counselor who got you to come here. You fell in love one night with the city. And then here you are 24 years later teaching at that same school through about a passion of yours. Like it's just to me speaks so much to like the spirit of New Yorkers of making things happen. And like we always say, and like you have just said yourself, shit is hard. Yeah. It's not easy. We know there's a lot of problems, all of those things. But on this show, we sometimes focus on the good stuff. Yeah. And you know, you did it. You're back around. You're there. You're teaching. You should feel so proud of yourself. I just think it's so cool. You should feel great that you've been here for 24 years and like made this career for yourself in a niche that you feel happy and proud of.
Thank you. Yeah. I love it.
You're welcome.
I love it. I love it.
I love to hear that. I love to hear people like doing what they love. It's so great. We can get caught in doing other things. Yeah. Okay. 24 years here.
Oh, geez.
Hugely in love with New York City.
Yes.
Working at NYU. You got the show on PBS to prove everything. We got all of this. Let's get to our most important question of the show. And that is, of course, what is the most fun you've ever had in New York City?
The one thing that I love about living in New York are those days where it like feels like it's the longest day of your life. And it's just this never ending magic. Oh, and I'm sure you've had those. Right?
Oh, yes. You're speaking my language.
So this was only 2 years ago, July 11th, 2021.
I love when people remember the date specifically. Yeah. I don't know why, but that just gets me very excited. Okay.
It was the Euro Cup and Italy was playing against England. And I remember this because my family's Italian and we're like obsessed with soccer, but we were filming Bare Feet season 5 and 6, right?
Okay.
And I had a full day of filming with my crew. And so I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see the game. And obviously that's not my priority. My priority is to do my job, which I love. But I kept getting texts all day of like, as soon as you're done, like, let's meet in the West Village to watch the game or whatever, you know, from my friends.
Yeah.
So the morning started amazing. We head to Brooklyn Bridge Park to film with this Afro-Cuban dance group. And I get there and like, there are these live musicians and the park is full because remember this was in 2021. So this was like right when people were coming back outside, vaccines had rolled out, everyone's dancing together, families are in the park and they're excited to see performances.
Yeah.
So we get there and I'm having a full Afro-Cuban dance class in front of all these people with our cameras.
In the middle of the park, yes.
Right over the tip of Brooklyn Bridge Park. And they're wrapping me in all these, you know, with a skirt and I'm learning some of the choreography. And it's just this like beautiful moment. And what's also really cool is during COVID, during lockdown, none of us could see each other. And it turns out more people were watching Bare Feet than ever because they wanted to travel vicariously through the show.
Sure.
So while we were filming these new seasons, I was running into fans left and right. And it was just beautiful. Like, oh my God, like people so crying, like you got me through COVID. You like, and I still have these emotional moments with people, but like, it was the start of really seeing firsthand the world changed completely overnight. And I thought we were done, you know, like making a travel show. And here we are making a travel show in the middle of a pandemic. Like it was this like very surreal moment.
Yeah.
We finished that shoot, we get some lunch and we head to the East Village. And I'm still getting texts from my best friends like, hey, when are you done? You know, the game's going to start soon, right? It's Euro Cup. And I was like, okay, you know, I'll keep you posted.
The FOMO is always so real in New York City. Like even you're shooting a world-renowned Emmy-winning television show.
Like, and I'm having FOMO.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So then we go to the Lower East Side, Loisaida Center, which is this Nuyorican historical center that, that part of the neighborhood in the Lower East Side was predominantly Puerto Rican. We were meeting with this incredible all-female samba reggae group called Batala.
So cool.
So cool. And these women are badass, and they're dressing me in like full knee pads and shin pads and hip guards because these drums that they're carrying aren't heavy, but you can get banged up.
Yeah.
And so we're at the Lower East Side Center, and they're like, okay, now we have to go to the Plaza Cultural to drum outside. And it's this beautiful day. So we basically do like March of the Penguins, kind of with like these aluminum drums on our heads, dressed in this like padded garb, marching the streets.
Amazing.
To the plaza, right? And we're like all in red. It was awesome. We get to the plaza, and there's this like little kid birthday party happening where we were supposed to be.
Like
typical.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. And like it's a community garden. So you have to like sign up, and we had signed up, and apparently it was double booked. And I was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We're filming. So luckily we just like snuck in the next space over. And it turns out the parent of the kid who had the birthday were like, we're a huge fan of your show. Like, we love your show. So at some point while we're filming, all these kids come out with their parents, and they're like clapping along. It was very sweet.
God.
It was a beautiful day. And I'm in this community garden drumming with 25 women, making samba reggae music, and people are stopping and taking pictures and dancing with us. And it was just like, this music is so empowering and powerful. And it is like rooted in protest movement of Afro-Brazilian communities. So it was like this beautiful energy. And when I tell you, I was wiped out because that morning, just like 6 hours before, I was dancing for a couple hours in Brooklyn Bridge Park.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, just that, like, so some people can't even handle just like, oh, I went to Brooklyn Bridge Park and, sat on the lawn. And then I went to the Lower East Village. They're like wiped out from that. You're like, not to mention dancing for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah. And then so we were drumming, and I'm carrying this drum. And so by the time we finish, I was just like, okay, I'm done. Like, beautiful day. I think it must have been like 4:00 by the time we finished.
Oh my gosh.
And so I start heading home, and I check my phone, and there's like a million texts. Like, are you coming to the West Village?
Don't you dare.
Yeah. And then like, as I'm going, Italy wins. Italy wins. Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh, we won. I didn't get to see any of the game, but we won. And so I start heading back to South Williamsburg, and I walk by one of my favorite pizza spots, L'Industrie.
Ooh.
I don't know how you say it in English. In L'Industrie.
Yeah, they say L'Industrie. I mean, hearing you say it, I was like, damn, that's beautiful. No, I didn't know that's how that's pronounced.
That's how you say it. It's L'Industrie, which is I think it's on South 2nd.
Yeah.
Great pizza spot.
Excellent pizza.
Massimo's the owner. I've become friends with him, and I think he's from Florence originally, young guy, like amazing pizza, right? So I walk by, and there is a party because Italy just won the Euro Cup. It's the first big game since COVID. People are losing their minds. So I'm like, I'm calling my friends. I was like, you get your asses out of the West Village and you come to L'Industria right now.
This is where the real party is.
This is where the real party is. And it's funny because his friend is English, and he was just like, my friend's so bummed. I was like, I don't care. You're coming here. We are celebrating. I've had a long day.
Just the energy of like, I know that so well when you're just pure exhaustion, and then you just turn a corner, and it's seriously like New York just shoots something into your veins, and you're like, party time.
Yes.
I forget everything I did this day. I forget how tired I am. It is time to party. And not only were you like, I'm going to this, you like start rallying people with you. Okay.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
Keep going. Sorry.
And the best part was I knew like the next day we weren't filming on the Monday.
I can get as drunk as I want.
Yeah. And I was like, because we film all week. And I was like, we are doing this today.
Yes.
So I quickly, literally, I just go back to the apartment. Usually these long days, you don't get to go back home. But luckily I was like around the corner from the apartment. That's why I ran into it. Drop off my rolling backpack full of things, change out of my sweaty red Batala outfit, which was amazing, and head right back down. So I get to the pizza spot. So let me paint you a picture of what this looked like. L'Industria has those, it's like an outdoor eating area. It's all wooden. They had a DJ booth set up in there.
So
they had the TV screen basically taken over that entire block. So I was like, well, I haven't eaten all day, basically. Let me get some pizza. So I'm like waiting in line, and they're like, we ran out of dough 3 hours ago. Like, this is how crazy the day was. And everyone's drinking. And I was like, well, can I get a beer? And they're like, we ran out of everything. And they're like, if you just go to the bodegas around the corner, just grab beers and just hang out.
Yes.
And I was like, amazing. So I go to the bodegas, grab a 6-pack, and my friends show up, and we are literally just drinking beers from the bodegas and having a dance party on South 2nd. Oh. And then the best part is, this is the best part. Every time a car would try to make a turn onto South 2nd, everyone starts jumping on the cars. But in all good fun of like, like chanting all the soccer chants, the football chants.
Joy.
Yes. And these people at first were getting annoyed, and then they're like, yeah, it was amazing because like there were all these people just celebrating. They literally ran out of dough, had no beer, had nothing to sell, but they were just there. We were there till I think 11:30.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like 6-7 hours?
Yes. Yes, girl. And we just kept going back to the bodegas to buy more beer because
go back, get some.
There were 3 bodegas out of the 4 corners. It was amazing.
Oh my gosh. I just love this story is just such a New York City story, and like many elements and moments, and from the beginning of, again, you being this person who is doing this show with so much heart and truly loving what you're doing, being in these places in our city that you love, being stopped by people, like so cool, them appreciating your work, you getting the fulfillment of all of these things. Okay. All of that is just like people strive for that in their life all their lives long. And that is just a moment of this story. Yeah. And then after that, like we're talking about, just the energy of the city is I will turn on a dime and I will go to the party. And I guarantee you, anyone who loves New York, who is hearing this right now, is just like, I want to do that. I know that feeling of when a block is on fire and everyone is having a blast, and go to the bodega and go pick up some more beers, and everyone's just so communally happy together. I mean, again, I got the chills. It is that feeling of New York City that literally nowhere else in the world can give you that.
It doesn't.
No.
Everyone's going to bodegas, and you make friends.
Yes.
Right? We're all, like, my friends show up, but people are buying beers. We run out of beers and like, hey, we got an extra Stella, or, I don't know these people. And it's just, you're on the street.
I want this right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we get one of these? And that's the thing though. You can't recreate it. Like you can never things just like this will happen again, thousands of times over, but it will always be organic, and you can't make that magic happen again. And I hope that I just stumble into something like this summer. I just think the whole day long, it is just so fun.
Yeah.
I love this story. It's pure joy from beginning to end. And I love that you are the type of person who are just like, you know what? I got to do it. I got to party.
Oh my gosh. That's my MO. You can even ask my crew when we film internationally. I'm like, you literally only live once that you can remember.
Oh God.
And God knows how many times my crew, we were filming all day, and then like some insane thing is brought to us as an opportunity. Like, we're going out and we're out till 4 a.m. I'm like, you will never forget this. And when's the next time you're going to be? It's true.
I'm worried about you and I ever spending some time together, because you only need one of those people in a group. I'm the exact same person. So I'm worried about having 2. I always, the constant theme of the show is just say yes.
Yeah.
You never know what can happen. You never know. You might turn down South 2nd Street and walk into the party of Italy winning the World Cup and meeting some great friends on the street. That is New York City. I love that story so much. Thank you for sharing it. I now have to ask you the last question of the show. We'll see. I know this is a tough one for some people. What is your favorite thing about New York City?
That's the people. That's an easy one. That's the easiest answer. It's the people.
It had to be.
Yeah. Because without the actual people here, the people that make this city run, the people that give this city its attitude, its resiliency, its joy, its grime, it's everything. Like, New York would not be what New York is. And I'm not a native New Yorker. I'm an adopted New Yorker, right? Mm-hmm. I still am in awe every day. I'm like, I fucking live here, man.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, I
Great.
feel that. I don't want to lose that. I don't ever want to lose that appreciation for this city and the people that I get to meet. And I talk to everybody, Rachel. I talk to everyone. I say hi to everyone. I want to know everybody. And I have these random weird conversations with folks on the subway because that's what life's about. And so, yeah, it's fucking New Yorkers, man. They're the best. They're the best.
Making me cry. It's just like, I'm like, wait a minute, are you talking or am I talking? You just sound so much like me. It's why we were meant to meet, and for you to be on this show and to be doing exactly what you are doing for a living. And of course, I mean, there literally was no other answer for you than the people. It's what you do for your passion. It's what you do for your job. It is what you bring to all of us through your show. And, you know, I have to agree with you. That's it. It's the people. They make this place so great. I think it's a perfect answer for you. And I agree with you. Go out there, talk to some people, get out of your, even if you're not the most outgoing of person. And I know we are, and maybe it's easier for us.
Yeah.
You know, talk to the person on the corner when you see them, or when you go into your bodega and you meet and you see the guy there for 10 years, just say hi to him and try to talk for a minute.
Yeah.
You might get some stories out of it. You might wind up at a street party. Who knows?
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being on the show, for telling me that absolutely wonderful story, for hearing all about your life, and most of all, for bringing us this show, Bare Feet, to hear these stories of New Yorkers, just like we were talking about. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel.
Most of all, thanks, New York. They had fun.